Hello and welcome to this video in which we'll work through a sequence of movements using the breath. This is designed to help maintain or improve mobility of the joints throughout the body. We'll first settle our minds on our breath, and from there we'll attempt to use the breath to guide the movement. And by using the breath to guide the movement, we're less likely to cause ourselves strain. And hopefully we can create a feeling of peace and relaxation at the same time. So all movements should be gentle enough not to cause pain. If there is pain, then we can ease back or we can stop. Stiffness is fine, but let's use that stiffness as a guide so that we don't push too hard. We can limit the movement. If you've had surgery or if your medical team have given you advice as perhaps not to or to avoid certain movements, then follow the advice of the medic. If you've had any surgery and your medical team has suggested that you avoid particular movements, then follow the advice of that medic. But when we're ready to move forward with this, let's settle ourselves on a chair to start with. So a dining chair is ideal. Probably better to avoid the chairs with the arms because they'll be getting in the way, but a nice sturdy chair on a nice firm surface is perfect. So ideally your feet should be flat on the ground to start with. Sometimes we can use yoga blocks to pop under the feet to give us that feeling of grounding. And ideally we'd have 90-degree bend at the knees. But once you've got yourself settled, we're going to start at the top of the body and work all the way down through the body. And as I said right at the beginning, we're going to start by establishing the breath. So really making a connection between the mind and the breath. And to do this, it helps if we can sit up relatively tall. So as long as you're comfortable doing that, just imagine you've got a nice long spine and the head is balanced on top of the spine, the ears above the shoulders. And if you can maintain this nice upright spine, maybe we're comfortable enough to close the eyes. And by closing the eyes, we shut off all those distractions that we might otherwise see around us. And once we've closed the eyes, let's see if we can think about our breath. See if we can follow the breath in and then follow the breath out. So we're not trying to change the way we breathe. We're not trying to make that breath deeper, longer, more dramatic. We're just noticing our natural breath. A nice free-flowing breath, hopefully. And if it's comfortable enough to breathe in and out through the nose, let's do that. If you happen to have a cold or congestion, then breathe however you need to breathe. As we follow the breath in and out, we can listen to the sounds of the breath. We can feel the movement of the body as we breathe. We can feel the expansion in the chest as we breathe in. And the retraction as we breathe out. And we might notice there's a little pause at the end of the in-breath, just before we breathe out again. And there's another little pause at the end of the out-breath, just before we breathe in. And then we're going to use this breath to help us as we begin this warm-up and this set of movements through the body. And to start with, we're going to be moving the neck. So next time we breathe out, let's let the chin move round over the right shoulder so we come into a gentle twist. And then as we breathe in, gliding that chin back to the middle again. Breathing out, releasing the chin round and over the left shoulder. Breathing in back to the middle. And taking that twice more in each direction. Breathing into the middle. Breathing out to the twist. And we're only twisting as far as the neck would like to go. So when we meet that point of resistance, we stop and we ease back. And when we go to the left-hand side on that third occasion, we come back to the middle. Just pause with that nice long neck again, ears above the shoulders. And then we're going to make some side-to-side movements. So as we breathe out, next time, let's release the right ear over towards the right shoulder and then breathe in to lift the head back up to the middle. Breathing out, left ear towards left shoulder. Breathing in, back up to the middle. 3 times altogether on each side. So we're just going as far in one direction as it takes to create a little bit of stretch in the opposite side of the neck. A pleasant stretch, a gentle stretch. We're not trying to get the ear all the way down in contact with the shoulder. And then after the third time, the left ear moves towards the left shoulder. We come back up to the middle and we pause there. And from here, we're going to visualize the number 8 lying on its side in front of you. So that number 8 lies on its side just in front, and we can allow the nose to follow around the shape of the number 8. And again, we're just making the size of this number 8 appropriate to your neck today. So you might have a stiff neck, in which case we can make that number 8 small enough so that we don't move into really uncomfortable stiffness. And it may be that you hear some squeaky sounds, some clicky sounds, and they're usually fine as long as there's no pain with them. And then next time we reach the middle of that number 8, we'll change direction. So these movements are slow enough not to make us feel dizzy, but just every now and again, some people find this does make them feel a little bit dizzy and sick. And if that's you, try making the size of your number 8 much smaller. And if that doesn't work, then stop that. And then next time we find the middle of that number 8, let's come to a pause there. And then from here, let's ease into one shoulder as we take it up, ease it back, release it down, draw it forward, take it up, back, releasing it down, so rolling through this shoulder and feeling into how this is. Is this shoulder clunky, clicky? Is it stiff? Is it painful? Again, we're not trying to move into pain, but some clunks and clicks, again, are usually okay. And maybe they ease off as we do this. And then let that shoulder be still. And then we'll do the same with the other. Drawing it forward, taking it up, taking it back, releasing it down. So they're backward shoulder rolls. We do so much in daily life. That means we round our shoulders. Any cooking, any housework, driving, using computers and phones, all brings us into a kind of rounded shoulder position. So we're basically undoing that. And we're aiming to do roughly the same number on each side. And then when we think we've done about the same number, let's pause there and let's join those two movements together, taking both shoulders up, back, around and down. And then we can let those shoulders settle. Hands resting on the legs or in the lap. Just feel into the neck and the shoulders for a moment. How are they after those few movements? So from here, we're going to lift the arms up in front now. And as we lift the arms, we're going to tuck the thumbs under and wrap the fingers around the thumbs. So we make some gentle fists. And then we're going to rotate the hands from the wrists so that the arms stay still, but we're getting this movement in the wrist joints. So I'm moving both my hands in the same direction. I'm going clockwise at the moment. If you can do that, that's great. But if you find that your hands counter rotate, then that's fine too. And again, you might hear some clicks. We're not looking for pain. And then we change direction. And when we think we've done about the same amounts of these rolls through the hands and the wrists, we'll let those arms drop down again. Let's rest the arms. If you're not used to doing that, sometimes you discover that the arms are much heavier than you'd expect. We know that we've worked some muscles in the arms. And then still working with the arms, but getting into the elbows now. Let's turn the palms face up as we stretch the arms out in front. And then as we breathe out next, let's bend the elbows and maybe we can bring the fingers onto the shoulders. As we breathe in, let's straighten those arms out. Breathing out, let's bring the fingertips to the shoulders. And breathe in to straighten the arms. Breathing out, fingertips to shoulders. Breathing in to straighten out the arms. Let's just take one more of those as we bring the fingertips to the shoulders on the out breath. Breathing in to release those hands and again take them to the lap. Just rest there for a moment and feel into the shoulders, the elbows. How was that for you? And then from here, we're going to bring the arms up in front. And this time we're going to push the palms towards the wall opposite. And then we're going to turn the palms face down. So let's breathe in to turn the fingers to face the ceiling. And breathe out to point the fingers to the floor. Breathing in, fingers to ceiling. Breathing out, fingertips to floor. Inhaling, fingers to ceiling. Exhaling, fingers point to the floor. One more time, fingers point to the ceiling. As we breathe out, let's gently lower those hands again. Now, the next thing we do is going to be getting into the fingers themselves. So we're going to bring the hands up, and this time we're going to tuck the tips of the index fingers underneath the thumbs. And then we're going to flick them away, and then tuck the tips of the middle fingers underneath the thumbs, flick them away. Then the ring fingers, flick them away, and the little fingers, flick them away. Back to the little fingers, tuck them under, flick them away. Ring fingers, flick away. Middle fingers, flick. And the index fingers, flick. And then use the index fingers to tuck the tips of the thumbs under so we can flick the thumbs. And then we start all of that over again. And we move between or backwards and forwards down the fingers, remembering to flick the thumbs as well. And looking to loosen up the joints throughout each of the fingers and into the hands, becoming more dexterous, more mobile as we do this. Noticing whether we can speed up without stumbling. Notice whether we have to watch what we're doing to help with this. And when we've done a few rounds of this, we can come to a stop and again rest those hands. So then I think we've worked through from the shoulders, including the elbows, the wrists, and the hands, and of course the fingers. So from here, we're going to create a little bit of movement through the spine. So gently we do this. Let's take the hands onto our thighs. And then next time we breathe out, we're going to guide the chin towards the chest. And we're going to round the back, round the shoulders, maybe slide the hands a little way closer to the knees. And then as we breathe in, we're going to lift the chest, lift the gaze, stick the tummy and the chest forward a little, maybe look up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, rounding those shoulders, chin towards the chest. Breathing in, lift the chest, lift the gaze, and going backwards and forwards here. So if you're sitting a little bit close to the support at the back of your chair, you might find this limits your movement. So you might be better off shuffling your bottom towards the front edge of the chair, but as long as you feel safe wherever you're sitting, then you can keep moving. And we're doing what we would call a cat and cow pose. So it's a seated version of the cat pose when we round our back and we bring the chin towards the chest, and the cow pose as we take the chest forward, lift the gaze. And you can feel as you do this that you're stretching the spine first in one direction and then the other. Breathing out to round the shoulders, round the back, chin to the chest, and breathing in to lift the gaze, lift the chest. And then we come back to a neutral spine, sitting up nice and tall. And then having taken the spine backwards and forwards, I'm going to do a little side to side movement. So it would be a good idea now to take the hands and see if you can feel the seat of the chair or find something that you might be able to hold on to, and step those feet a comfortable distance apart so you know you feel secure. And we definitely don't want this chair tipping up. So make sure that you do feel steady before you start. And when we start, we need the spine to be nice and upright. So we're making this into a side bend and not a twist. We're going to lean our left hand into the seat, holding onto the seat and easing over to the left, enough for the right hand to begin to slide up the body a little way. And then we're going to breathe in to come to the middle, find the seat of the chair, breathe out to lean to the right, let the left hand slide up the left side of the body a little. Breathe in to come to them, back up to the middle. Breathing out, sliding over. Breathing into the middle. Breathing out, easing to the right. And as you do this, this might be enough, these gentle side to side movements. But you might find that the arm that slides up the body seems eager to make this a bigger movement. Let the arm do what it feels right for you to do. And then next time that you take your left arm up, or let that left hand slide up the body, as it comes back down again, we pause, hands on the legs, thinking about that nice upright spine. And then we're going to introduce a gentle twist into the spine. So as we breathe out next time, we'll take our right hand onto our left thigh and our left hand around the back to feel the seat somewhere just behind, and maybe turn the head to look towards the left shoulder. And then we'll breathe in to come all the way back round to face front, hands on the legs. Next time we breathe out, we'll take the left hand onto the right thigh and the right hand to find the chair somewhere behind, and follow the right shoulder with the chin. Breathing in to untangle, come back to face front. Breathing out, right hand to left thigh, left hand round behind, follow that left shoulder and breathe in to come back to face front. Let's take a couple more of these. Breathing out into the twist. Breathing into the middle. Breathing out to the twist. Breathing into the middle. We're not looking for any pain, and we're not looking to move too deeply into these twists. Just going as far as your body is happy with. And then when we come back after moving to the right-sided twist next time, let's pause there. Body back in alignment, spine nice and long. And then we're going to make some slightly bigger movements for the back. So we're going to take the chin to the chest, and as we breathe out, we're going to slide the hands forwards, maybe taking those hands a little further beneath the knees. And then as we breathe in, we're going to stack the spine. We're going to sit up tall and lift the gaze. Breathing out, chin comes down, slide the hands down the legs just a little way beneath the knees. And then coming all the way back up again, growing tall as we arrive. And then we can let our body be our guide as to how far down the legs the hands travel each time. Remember, we're looking to move to that point where we're just beginning to feel a little bit of interesting stretch. We're not looking to hurt, we're not looking to force. Gentle mobilization. And then next time, those hands come all the way up, sitting tall again, pausing there, checking in. How do we feel? So from here, we're going to start to get into the hip area now. So if it is possible, and it may be that you need to sit a little further back in the chair to do this, make sure you feel nice and safe. We're going to lift the right knee up, and we can take the hands behind the right thigh to give ourselves a little support. And then we're going to draw the knee in towards the chest, and then we're going to release that leg again. We're going to draw the knee into the chest as we breathe out. As we breathe in, we're going to release the leg. Breathing out, draw that knee into the chest and breathe in to release. Ideally, we'd be doing this with the right leg first. Drawing that knee into the chest as we breathe out. Breathe in to take the foot back to the ground. Let's do one more. Knee to the chest. And release that leg back down to the ground. And then moving over to the left side. So lifting the left knee now, take the hands behind the thigh, breathing out, hug the thigh into the chest. Breathe in to lower the leg. Breathing out, draw that thigh in. Breathing in to lower the leg. Breathing out, thigh comes in. Breathing in to lower. As we lower the leg this time, let's come to a stop. Notice how you feel after that little bit of movement. And then we're going to take the hips in a slightly different way. So we're going to look to externally rotate the hips now. So this might be one of the conditions that it may be that a doctor or nurse has recommended if you've had a hip replacement, for example, that this might not be something that you should be doing, but do check up because hip replacements are changing all the time, and the range of movement that's possible and recommended afterwards varies. So just check. And again, let your body be the guide. If it feels wrong, it probably is wrong. If it feels okay, it probably is okay. And we're not going to do this too intensely either. So we're going to use an in-breath now, and we're going to walk the right foot towards the right. So you can see that as we step this right foot out to the right, we're opening that right hip. So just take enough steps to come to a point where you think would be your limits. And then we can, as we breathe out, we can walk that foot back to where we started. And then starting again as we breathe in, let's step this foot out. Let's go to the right range for you. And then we step that foot back in again. And again out as we breathe in. And breathe out to step that foot back in. And if you're confident with this hip, it may be that you can lift and take that foot all the way out to your end range and then all the way back in again. Maybe bigger, slightly speedier, freer movements. Let's just take one more out to your end range and back in, back to where we started. And make sure you're feeling secure on the seat before you do the other side, and then use the in-breath to step that left foot. Take a few steps to find the place that's right for you to go. And then as you breathe out, come back to center. Breathing in to step the foot. Find that point where your hip's happy to go. Breathe out to come back to center. Breathing in, a few steps to find your range. Breathing out to come back. And then when you get to the point where you think you know your range and the movement's going to be okay, and maybe you can take a step all the way out, step all the way back. Breathing in to go out, breathing out to arrive back at center. And making this the last one. As we come back to the middle this time, have a little rock and a shuffle. And then settling again, just feeling into the hips. How's that been for you? And then from here, we're going to take some knee cranks. So getting into the knees now. So let's take the hands underneath the back of the right thigh. And then we're going to, as we breathe in, straighten the right knee as much as is comfortable, and then bend. Breathe in to straighten. Breathe out to bend. Breathing in to straighten. Breathing out to bend. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend. One more time. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. And then let's lower that right foot. Feeling into the right knee. And then we can switch sides. So hands beneath the left thigh now, and breathing in to straighten. Breathing out to bend. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend. So we might hear some clicks and squeaks and crunches. And again, as long as there's no pain with that, that should be perfectly fine. And then when we think we've done the same number as we did on the other side, roughly speaking, come back to a still point. Feeling into how that was for you. So from here, it's time to move down a little further, and this time into the ankles. So let's take the hands underneath the right thigh. So we could do this sitting on the floor with the legs outstretched, but I'm holding beneath my right thigh so that you can see, so that there's plenty of movement here. And I'm going to rotate my right foot from my ankle, and I can hear some clicks going on. I'm aiming to keep the leg itself still. I'm just rotating from the ankle. And as I watch my foot, I'm trying to do one rotation as I breathe in and the next one as I breathe out. And then I'm going to change direction. And then I'm going to come to a stop and gently replace that foot on the floor. And then switch sides, supporting behind the left thigh now, so that my left lower leg is hanging freely. I'm going to rotate my left foot from the left ankle and aim to keep the rest of that left leg still. As I breathe in, one rotation. As I breathe out, the next. And the ankles are another place where you might be feeling stiffness. So if there's a bit of swelling in the feet and the ankles, this might feel stiff. If you've had ankle damage, sprained ankles, broken ankles, problems in the past, again, that might feel stiff. It's good to try and move through, but not moving through pain, obviously. Stiffness is good. Let's change direction if we haven't already. And then when we think we've done the same amount of work on this ankle, we're going to gently lower. So just feel into the ankles, let all of that settle. And then finally, we're going to move into the toes. So again, we could do this with our legs extended if we were sitting on the floor. I'm going to hold my legs up. No, I'm not. I'm going to get a stool so I can support my legs. And just so that you can see, I've got my feet up on a stool. And I'm going to try to spread my toes wide so that I can get some spaces between those toes. And if we're used to having our toes crushed into shoes most of the time, this can be quite tricky to do. But just keep looking at your toes and almost willing your toes to spread and separate so that perhaps you can feel some air between the toes. And then we're going to let them go. And then we're going to, with an in-breath, try to curl all 10 toes away. And then with an out-breath, draw those toes towards the nose. Breathing in, we're going to curl the toes away, scrunch them up. Breathe out to draw the toes towards the nose. Curling, drawing them towards the nose. And you might find that some toes seem to do as they're told and other toes aren't quite so easy to move. But if you persevere with this, gradually we improve the messaging that passes from brain to tips of toes. And the toes begin to respond in a way that perhaps they didn't before. And when you think you've done enough of those movements, we can take the feet back to the floor and we can come to a stop at the end of our practice. Hopefully you found all of that achievable. We haven't overdone anything. And there's that feeling that we've been following the breath, using the breath to guide the practice. Thank you for working with me today, and hopefully I'll see you soon at another video or in a class. Namaste.